A few videos ago, I was going over some backpacking gear items that I should have bought sooner, and one of those items was a canister stove. You see, when I first started backpacking, I was on a strict budget, so when I learned that I could create a homemade alcohol stove instead of buying an expensive canister stove, dude, I was all about it. I made a few designs, I tried them out while I was backpacking a little bit, and honestly, they sucked. I ran into a bunch of problems, I got lazy, and ultimately, I gave in and I bought a canister stove. This was about 8 years ago, and honestly, I haven't really looked back since. That is, until now. Yes, you heard that right. Even though I was just talking shit about alcohol stoves like 2 videos ago, I decided I'm gonna give them another shot. But why, Kyle? That's probably what you're asking. Why change up this cook system that you've been rocking for 8 years now? Make no mistake, this idea was absolutely inspired by my drive to make some interesting videos for you guys. However, I gotta say, there are some other legitimate reasons for me to be exploring alcohol stoves. First of all, they're obviously a great way to save weight, and I know that's gonna make some of you cheer and some of you roll your eyes and cringe, but the weight savings of an alcohol stove definitely make it enticing for me, I'm not gonna lie. However, I think the biggest reason why I'm giving alcohol stoves another shot is because I want some redemption on my failures from the first time around. One of the biggest issues I had with my old alcohol stoves was that I couldn't really simmer the flame. That made it basically impossible to do anything other than just boil a couple cups of water over the stove. You couldn't really, actually cook something. However, lately I've been starting to buy those overpriced dehydrated backpacker meals, and honestly, these are perfect for alcohol stoves because all you have to do is boil the water and pour it into the bag. No cooking necessary. Another problem I had was that I could never correctly estimate how much alcohol I needed to pour into the stove to boil the water. I would always end up putting too much in, and then once my water was boiling, I would just be left with like a burning mess of a stove and had absolutely no way to put it out. Not very safe at all. However, you'll have to keep watching the video because I did come up with a somewhat solution to this problem. And speaking of solutions, I think I've talked enough about my reasoning for exploring alcohol stoves again. Let's start doing some research on them.
Testing, 1, 2, testing, your mom test.
My research process started just the same way that any good research process should, by sitting down with a computer, a pen, a piece of paper, and cracking a cold one. Let's go. As soon as I began Googling around, I started to recall how many different alcohol stove designs are out there. It's crazy. You've got your soda can stoves, your cat food can stoves, and a bunch of other designs that I can't even begin to wrap my head around. I thought it would be an easy choice, honestly, but after hours of researching and many beers later, I was piss drunk, and I still had no idea what type of stove I was gonna make. And to make matters worse, the laptop I was using is actually broken, it doesn't even turn on, and all the notes I took were basically just gibberish because obviously this is a joke and I didn't actually film myself while I was doing research. So anyways, I settled on the cat food can stove, okay? And the reason I did that is because it seemed to be the simplest design. And if I'm gonna do this right, I might as well start at square one. Isn't that correct? At the start of phase 2, I had to undertake what is arguably the most dangerous part of this entire process, and it has nothing to do with trying to cook over an open alcohol flame. I had to make a trip to my local Walmart to pick up a very short list of supplies. Item number 1 was a hole punch. Item number 2 was a can of Fancy Feast cat food, and item number 3 was a bottle of heat, which is commonly used as fuel for alcohol stoves. We couldn't find the heat, so, instead we looked for a bottle of denatured alcohol, which is another common type of fuel used for alcohol stoves.
We're looking for the denatured alcohol now. Look, we found stripper. Oh, dude, what, dude?
Of course, Walmart, the place that supposedly has everything, didn't have that either, so we had to look elsewhere.
So I couldn't find heat or denatured alcohol at Walmart, and Flossie is insisting that REI has it. So we're placing a $5 bet. He's calling them right now to find out if they have heat, a auto product at a fucking backpacking store. There's no way.
Guarantee they got it. I had a quick question. Do you guys carry like bottles of heat for like alcohol stoves?
What do you mean by that, I guess?
It's
like propane bottles, or?
No, it's like, like some people make like homemade alcohol stoves. It's like the alcohol that goes in those. I didn't know if you guys carried them.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, unfortunately we won't have that stuff here.
What'd I tell you?
Appreciate it.
Eventually, we found it in Home Depot, and then we headed over to REI to pick out the dehydrated meal that I was going to be testing this stove on. At this point, I had picked out my design and gathered all the necessary materials, so the only thing left to do was to sit down and somehow turn this shitty can of cat food, which absolutely stunk up my living room for the rest of the night after I opened it, by the way, into a functioning stove that could boil enough water to rehydrate my overpriced backpacker meal. Alright, what the f am I doing here? My plan was to punch opposite holes in the can on all sides until the top row was even and full. This is what we're working with, just one more row of holes to go. And then I was gonna offset the bottom row and punch the same amount of holes there as well. Turns out buying the cheapest hole punch at Walmart might not have been the best idea, but hey, you know, this entire project is probably not the best idea, so it seemed fitting, okay? Once the stove was completed, I realized that I basically forgot about like a really important part in making an alcohol stove, and that was a windscreen. Really, really stupid, I know. I needed to make a windscreen in order to maximize the efficiency of the stove, and there's many effective ways to make a windscreen, and you can find all of them by doing some like basic internet research, but I was feeling lazy and sticking to the theme of this video, so I just fucking grabbed some tinfoil that was in my kitchen and basically just folded it a few times, and yeah, we're just gonna call that good. I'm gonna call this the preliminary design. I think we need to go test this fucker out and see how it performs in my backyard, aka the field. All right, so in this pot we've got 2 cups of water. We've got our stove right here. I have no idea how much alcohol I'm gonna pour in this. Let's just wing it. Safety cap, there we go.
We're just winging it, folks. I don't know, that much? What do you think?
So we got 0 on the clock. Let's get this guy nice and positioned right on there. Wait, I guess I have to light it actually for
And there goes all my heat. Oh, it's going. Yeah, it's going. Yep. All right, this probably was obvious to a lot of you, but the flame is very hard to see, so be very careful. We'll see how long it takes to get this water to a boil.
We're at about 2 minutes and 40 seconds right now, and I'm not even seeing any bubbles in the water yet. All right, I'm starting to see a couple bubbles. Right now we are 6 minutes and 40 roughly seconds in. That's not good. 9 minutes and 20 seconds.
That's where we're at, almost 12 minutes, but we are getting somewhere now. We're almost, it's like a baby boil, you could say.
Look who just got home from work.
Oh, okay, okay. I think that's about as boil as we're gonna get. We're at about 14 minutes here. So I'm gonna take this thing off, pretend I poured in my food, and then I'm gonna figure out how the hell to put this stove out.
Now my idea here, because this is still burning, my idea is to just put the pot over it and just smother it. All right, let's try this. I don't know. I think it's out. Yeah, that's out. It took me about 15 minutes, say, to boil that water. 2 cups, which is probably the max that I would need to boil at one time. Is it worth bringing this fucking piece of shit alcohol stove tomorrow? Just for one night, and I guess for the morning too, I'll need coffee, which I'd bring it. I think I'm gonna bring it. All right, well, there's only one thing to do now, folks. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay, it's the next day. Quick little overnight now to go test the world's shittiest alcohol stove that's ever been created by anybody ever. We're just gonna do just like a 3.5 mile skirt up to Round Top Shelter on the long trail. That's the deal. Let's hit the trail. All right,
I cannot backpack anywhere this year without getting rained on, apparently. We literally hiked like 3 miles, like, to get to this spot where we're camped right now. 3 freaking miles, and still got caught in a torrential downpour thunderstorm. It looks like it stopped for the moment. We can still hear some bangs off in the distance, and I think there's a chance we might get hit by another one later. Still gonna do the stove. It's gonna be wet, but we're gonna figure it out. Wet socks coming off, eh?
Oh yeah, coming off, getting wrenched out.
Comment below if you know how good it feels to take off wet socks.
Oh, the water's coming out.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Hear that thunder?
It might come down again.
I know. I'm kind of afraid it might. At least we got the tent set up now. Just checked the weather radar and it's not looking good. Oh, it's about to pick up here. All right. It is time to try out the old alcohol stove. What do you think? You think it's gonna work out for me?
I think it's gonna work, buddy.
For dinner, we're going with the Alpine Air. What is this? I don't even know what this is, but it's got pork, pineapple, some beans, some rice, and shit. We'll see how it is. 2 cups of water, I think, too, is what I need. I got this fancy little measuring cup here, aka I put a cup of water into a water bottle and then I cut it where the line was. Did it go out? Nope. This thing is barely going, folks. It actually went out. I had to relight it. I think maybe the bottom of the pot was wet and that was like making it not do as well, but it's going okay right now, but there's not too much flame coming out the side there, which has got me kind of concerned. Well, I gave it a few more minutes and I think I guess the pot maybe was like wet and that was like causing it to not light very well, but it's going good now. You see flames coming out all the sides, man. Only about 15 more minutes until my water's boiled. Oh, we're boiling. Fuck yeah. I've never been one to roll burritos very well. Not that bad though. Don't mind me, I'm just finishing up my dinner. I just cooked with my homemade shitty alcohol stove. All things considered, worked out pretty well. A few hiccups, almost caught the ground on fire, almost caught myself on fire. But at the end of the day, I had a hot meal and it was light, it was UL, and it was cheap. Well, to make the stove. The food was actually really fucking expensive. It's getting dark, which means bedtime. Good night. Good morning, everybody. Morning means coffee, right? And coffee means round 2 with the shitty alcohol stove. Oh yeah, that's a good boil there. There's barely any gas in there, so I'm just gonna let that burn out.
I didn't see any.
Now he's thinking about going off of that one right there. I do not like to jump off of things into water or jump off of things onto land either. But especially water, which makes no sense. Okay, we're back. Comment below what kind of alcohol stove I should build next. I'm already thinking about doing like a soda can one or like a beer can one. Comment below, let me know. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit that notification bell. And what else should they do? Just do all that stuff.